I mean, people were making ridiculous amounts of money. They paid out $1 million a day to creators. If you had like a high percentage of those total views in the top ranking, like you were making a stupid amount of money. Like people were making 6 figures to 7 figures from. Welcome back to Broken Famous, the #1 podcast for influencers by influencers. We're your hosts, Bryce, ProtoJ.
And I'm SmallTownHollywood.
Welcome back to the pod, Mr. Hollywood. We actually have a nice little sponsor.
We do have a sponsor today. It's a very beautiful coffee company. Our sponsor today is Wonder Coffee. Wonder Coffee seeks to inspire creativity one cup at a time. If you struggle with the everyday coffee jitters, try their Adagio blend, made from organic hemp seed. Proven to help increase cognitive function, amplify brain health, improves your metabolism, and helps with mild symptoms of anxiety and depression. The Vivace blend is infused with lion's mane and chaga mushroom, which helps with the everyday case of brain fog. Their Adagio and Vivace premium blends generally do clear my mind to help with my coffee jitters. Not only is their coffee delicious, they also give a portion of every sale of premium coffee to support after-school music classes to low-income children. I can confidently say I'm a better podcaster and overall human being waking up to a pot of this every morning. Use code BROKE for 50% off your first premium order once you subscribe. That's code BROKE, BROKE, for 50% off your first premium order once you subscribe. Just under our code at checkout, Wonder Coffee, a coffee that inspires creativity, one cup at a time.
Thanks, Wonder.
Thank you, Wonder.
Oh, shit.
Oh, we tried 8.
we tried.
Yeah. I think you were off that time.
I was off. I did like a starter class.
We try to do 8 every time because that's the lucky number. Anyway, Bryce, how was your week? Did you have a good week, man?
I have had a good week. I've just been grinding, getting this podcast edited.
Bro, you have been.
Getting it out. Pretty excited about the episode that's going to be dropping before this, so hopefully you've already watched that. But we had our first guest on, so.
Dude, that was, yeah, she's a blast. If you haven't seen the Drew Rin one, go watch that because she is
check it out.
Super talented, super fun person to talk to.
We'll tag it right here.
Good old business lady.
Mr. Wood, I heard you were hanging out in the woods.
Oh, that was a good way to put it. Yeah, and we got rained on. It was a blast, and then I had to leave. But it was fun. I had a little bit of this coffee while I was in the woods, too, and that's the only reason I'm here today.
Coffee saved your life.
Drink this coffee if you never want to get wet again.
Well, should we just get right into it?
Yeah. What are we talking about today?
We've got a pretty heavily informational episode, so if you guys want to strap in and kind of chop away at this one in pieces, do that. We're going to have it chaptered out for you on YouTube. So again, guys, this podcast is going to be heavily visual, so if you're listening on Spotify, you might want to jump over to YouTube, but we're going to have a bunch of informational things up on the screen and just examples, but this whole episode is going to be for monetization for influencers. So we've got a bunch of topics that we want to cover. Jarek, what are our 3 that we're hitting today?
So I think we should disclaim that the title of this podcast, like you should already know, is How Not to Be Broke and Famous. And we have a cool little percentage of how like hard this is to actually like achieve. It's hard. It's hard to become a full-time influencer. As most of you guys probably know or have seen, it's really easy scrolling through social media and seeing people just posting pictures of like their super rich cars, their perfect life, but like they're grinding or they're faking it, to be honest.
It's one of the two.
But the stat we have is 12% of full-time creators make over $50K a year. Only 12, while 46% make less than $1K a year. This is some data we found from Linktree.
That is insane.
I know.
If you really think about it.
That's so more than the people who are actually like doing it and living comfortably is around like 40%, maybe a little. What is that stat?
The 46% is people make less than $1K a year. So basically,
who's actually living comfortably doing all this?
I guess the top 10%, you would say. I mean, living comfortably with $50K, like that's kind of like an entry-level job.
Yeah, $1K a year.
And that's ridiculous. The top 12%. So, I mean, it's going to be even smaller than that for people that are like living comfortably. If we're talking 6 figures. But yeah, that stat just puts into perspective, you know, there's a lot of people that are trying to be influencers, but it's only like really the top 10% that are making it a career.
Half of influencers, that stat is ridiculous. Half of them make less than $1K a year, which is ridiculous. Well, we have 3 topics that we think can help you achieve that full-time influencer of being famous. You probably have seen your videos blow up or have seen your friends' videos blow up, but they're not making any money. They might be making money from their part-time job, but doing it full-time of just making videos, being a creator is hard. The 3 topics that we have are monetization, niches, and pleasing the algorithm. Bryce,
Pleasing that algorithm.
you want to start off with our little monetization spot?
Yeah, so we want to dive headfirst into kind of each platform and how you can make money kind of wherever you're at in your influencer career, whether you're just starting out or not. We're going to have some examples of how to make money, just starting out right away, or if you're further along, you have 100,000, you have 1 million followers. Like, there's going to be kind of different examples for each level, but we're just going to cover them all right away before we get into kind of like where you're at as an influencer.
Exactly.
But we want to start out with each platform. So specifically, the platforms that we're going to cover today are going to be YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and then we're going to briefly talk about Snapchat and Pinterest, but they're not super important. I just wanted to include them because there is potential to make money on those platforms, but it's more so in the form of like creator funds, which is our first way of monetizing.
Creator funds.
Creator funds. And Mr. Hollywood, I'm going to have you speak a little bit on some of those, but the first one that I want to talk about, I guess we'll start with YouTube. So creator funds in general is kind of a new concept. We're not speaking about like AdSense here on YouTube. I'm speaking about creator funds specifically, where the platform or the company like YouTube has put together their own fund or pool of money specifically for creators. Like they've carved this out in their budget. We're going to put away $1 billion this year to pay out to creators. Now, that's extremely high. It might be 100 million. I'm not sure. Do you remember how much TikTok's was when they first announced their creator fund?
It was like $1 billion, dude.
It was something. It was something insane like that.
They went through that quick though.
Right, and TikTok was, I think they were the first platform to come out with a creator fund, and that's why now all these other platforms have kind of done the same thing to entice creators to create their short form content on their platforms. But so TikTok came out with their creator fund. And as we talked about kind of in our first episode, I would advise you not to join the creator fund because they are going to pay you based on the amount of views. So why would they promote and push your video out algorithmically if they're going to have to pay you more for that? That's always kind of been my hunch at like the TikTok creator fund. And I think just creator funds in general, but that kind of leads to Reels and Instagram's creator fund. What do you think about how they're running their creator fund in the sense of like, hey, we need you to get X amount of views and we're going to give you this much money? Like talk about that.
Each creator fund has their issues for sure. And then I think starting off, every creator fund that I've been a part of has started off so strong. And then I think they start realizing how much they can actually give away while making creators happy. But I did find the stat for how much they gave when they first started off. The initial investment, TikTok, was $200 million. And then they promised to hit $1 billion within the next 3 years.
Okay.
So I think 2 years ago is when the creator program was first introduced. 2 years ago. So by now, I don't know what they're at, but they are right now promising 2 to 4 cents for every 1,000 views, which we kind of talked about in the last podcast. That's like nothing. That's $30 maybe if you take the average of it for every 1 million views. Mm-hmm. So Instagram, to answer your question.
Do you know the requirements for TikTok for joining the creator fund?
I think you just need 10,000 followers.
Okay. So there are some requirements to become
getting in there,
get into the creator fund. I think for each platform there's certain ones, but go ahead, Reels.
Which honestly isn't that bad. Like most people I know are in the creator fund, even like people like us, like smaller follower accounts. But the engagement aspect is what's difficult. Reels creator fund is kind of a creator fund. You do have to be invited into it. And there's IGTV, which is like you get paid through that. But the big one is Instagram bonus Reels or Reels Play. You have to be invited into it, and you can't have more than like, I don't know what the section is. I try to Google it, but most people over 500K or like even over 1 million do not have Reels Play. It's primarily to support like micro influencers to like smaller macro influencers on there. But they pay, depending on what your engagement was when you first were introduced to it. I think I started off it was $800 for like 2 million views, I think. And then it slowly starts pushing you up once you start really hitting that engagement. And I think some creators for around 30 million views, they're getting paid 40 grand a month, which is insane to think about.
40, let's repeat that, 40 grand.
40 grand, 35 grand, I guess, for literally 35 million views, which is ridiculous. Breaking that down, I think that's like $1,000 for every million views. For me, mine went to 8,500, I think, full transparency, every single month for 8.72 million views. So that's around a grand a month or a grand for every million views.
Yeah, and that's more aligned with YouTube's like AdSense, which that's fantastic payout for creators.
And I think it's wonderful, and the reason why it works is it's still doing that cap. It's like, hey, you can't make any more money than this. But like if you don't reach this, it resets. So the next month you start at zero again. And I love the way they're doing that, but I've been stressed out. Bryce knows about it a little bit. Most creators are pretty stressed out about it when they were relying on that money for like 4 or 5 months, maybe. Meta announced actually that there's like a disclaimer when you're on the program as well that says they can change the amount to whatever they want. So don't get comfortable with a certain amount. And I had 4 months of like the 10K, which was amazing. And some months I wouldn't hit it, some months I would, but I was really comfortable with it. They changed mine for the same amount of money, the same $8,500 a month. Instead of 8.72 million views, I have to hit 85 million views a month on Instagram. And I was going through people's Instagrams. Charlie D'Amelio doesn't even get that view count. Kim Kardashian barely brushes that. So I can't even imagine the people that are like really like the big influencers that are getting like, we're getting the 35 million views a month for 40 grand. Like I think they have to get 800 million views or something like that, which is ridiculous. I don't know anyone who hits that many views. So that's another example of like sometimes creator funds can be amazing, mainly at the start, and then the companies start to adjust, especially with this whole like, this is getting more into economics, but the recession that we're heading into and the whole yield curve inversion. So I do think that we need to buckle down and kind of save our money as creators right now, because even a lot of these companies are starting to like, their payouts are getting quite lower.
Yeah, that might just be strategy on getting people to join the programs or create more content on like these different platforms, because they're all trying to be competitive. So like TikTok's kind of got their flat rate. I don't know if it's changed much since they launched it, but Instagram definitely became highly competitive with those kind of rates. And then just to cover Snapchat, like Snapchat came out with Spotlight and they had a creator fund, and I mean people were making ridiculous amounts of money. They paid out $1 million a day to creators, and they had some sort of ranking feature where if you made it into like the Spotlight ranking, you split that $1 million pot in between like everyone else that ranked, and it was based on views too, I believe. So if you had like a high percentage of those total views in the top ranking, like you were making a stupid amount of money. Like people were making 6 figures to 7 figures from Spotlight because they're paying out that much. But I think they did that for, I don't know, 6 months to a year. And it created so much buzz, they got people to create content on Spotlight.
Yeah,
but now people are having problems with getting payments from Spotlight, so they're being kind of like sketchy with it, right?
Well, dude, it's annoying hearing like even David Dobrik was talking about it. David Dobrik, he's making fine money, and he was making a shit ton of money from Snapchat and TikTok creator funds. Like the whole point of a creator fund is to help creators so they can remain creators on the app. And they're paying these ginormous like YouTubers all this money. It's kind of shitty, I guess. That's why like the Reels program, if you're already making it, if you have 1 million views or 1 million followers, like your odds are you're not in that program because you don't need it. And you still make money on Instagram off of like IGTV and stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is, if you guys want to join the creator funds, like you can make some money from it, especially if you produce a lot of viral content. But I would always say don't do the funds if you don't
absolutely need the money, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like Reels Play, do that if you have time.
You know what? That's fair. I think it's platform to platform.
Yeah.
Wouldn't do TikTok. If you're in Reels,
proven,
absolutely
dude,
do it.
That they stunt your growth.
Yeah.
Man. I've literally seen it, and I've seen right when I left it. I mean, it's proven for me, I guess, in my mind. I don't know how it's worked for other creators. I've talked to a few people who are like, I won't drop names because they probably don't want me talking about their experience. But I do know people that have never joined it, and their engagement has stayed the same. I know people who have joined it, immediately drops off, and they're still in it, still dropped off. From my experience, I joined it, dropped off for a year. Second I left it, all my videos started blowing up again. Our mashup from 2 years previous, that started blowing up again. 2 mashups I did with Kings, yellow hair girl, that started blowing up from like a month to 2 months previous. Gained an extra 200,000 followers. I don't know if that's just like it just happened, but it's kind of odd that the second I talk to you, you tell me to leave it, all this stuff happens for me.
Right.
And I did rejoin it because I'm like, I want to test it again because I feel like I'm an advocate for not joining it.
Right.
So I've been kind of watching it, but right now I do have like a lot of engagement from our video, our mashup that we did. So it's still like kind of blowing up, but at the same time, it's nowhere near, because I posted the same video. Might have been because it was a repost that it's not doing as well. But first time I posted, it got 40 million views. Second time I posted in the creator fund, it got like, I think 8 million or something. But I'm not sure.
Bad.
Still kind of testing it out, like I said.
The last one too, I just wanted to cover Pinterest, and I know this is probably super underrated and people might shit on Pinterest or not understand it. Pinterest is moving towards the TikTok algorithm, and as far as like pushing content, they're pushing the short form video. If you go to like your home feed, it's all short form video instead of like static picture posts that would normally go to blogs. And they just announced that they upped their creator fund. They actually had one last year and they're upping it this year. I think it's up to like 25 million. Don't quote me on that, but they are moving towards like a more creator featured platform. And I've actually been testing it out, just like reposting some content, and they are pushing that out. So if you are in a space that there's like your topic or your niche is searchable on Pinterest, like food or fashion or like home decor, anything like that, post on Pinterest and use their idea pins feature. It is bomb. You're going to get your shit blowing up on there. Use it.
I feel like fashion niche would be ginormous for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeez.
That's what I've been testing on too, and can confirm fashion, massive.
Dang.
All right. Next one. This one's pretty self-explanatory as well. We don't have to do like a super deep dive into it, and I think the threshold is pretty low for most platforms to be able to do this, but live streaming and accepting donations and gifts. I'm pretty sure on TikTok, you only need like 1,000 followers to be able to go live.
You can like almost immediately.
Yeah. So hustle for that first 1,000 followers. And then if you create an engaging live stream or an engaging fan base, which you totally can with 1,000 followers, like try to monetize that, like ask for donations or have some sort of goal. Or if you're building a business, like educate your following on what you're doing and they're going to want to support you. But massive creators, like people in Hype House or Sway House or like those kind of like younger
huge
kids,
money.
that have that teen following, they get so much money in gifts.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Bryce Hall and Josh Richards, or it's another.
They'll do those
guy.
battles.
Yeah, of live streaming to just see who can make the most money.
It is kind of. I mean, I don't love that the battles
Aspect.
because it's basically just like how much money. Yeah, how much money can we make? But if you're a creator, like do that with your friends, do that with your following. I mean that you can make a lot of money. It's actually stupid.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember in SmallTownHollywood days, we had one night where we were broadcasting, and I think someone donated $500, and the split's like 50-50. So we made like $250 that night.
Shout out Aaron.
Yeah, that was huge. That was huge, just in general. Like it was crazy to receive that kind of money from just a live stream, and we were just on there like talking about random shit and like chopping it up.
That was wild. And I've had nothing like that big because I like don't really like live streaming that much, and I'm sure some of the people who follow me watching this will be mad, but I have had some like pretty big gifts before, and it does like light your brain up seeing that on the screen. Makes you want to keep going, but afterwards you do kind of feel a little bit like a monkey. You're just like, I'm performing for all these people. I guess it's not much different from like shooting a video.
Yeah, or doing a live doing an actual live performance, you know?
Yeah.
As far as production and like scripting out and making it entertaining.
I feel like if you really settle in on that monetization outlet, you can make that a full-time thing.
Oh, that's so true. Have you seen that dude that does, is it the vocoder and he plays piano?
Oh, yeah.
That kid has to make thousands of dollars each live stream.
I've seen that so many times.
He's got a fire background. It's like a rainbow. We'll find it. I'll throw it up on the screen. He's got like a very colorful background. He's super engaging with his audience. He plays like popular songs. People request songs and stuff like that. It's just fire example of someone that's crushing it on the live streams on TikTok.
Gosh, yeah. And that does take talent. There are some people I've seen no talent whatsoever. They just find, I don't know, something that works. Like, remember the emoji game when that would work?
Yeah.
There was this thing called an emoji game on live streams, and people would stay in because you'd pick an emoji and you wouldn't tell them. And then whoever, I guess, comments the right emoji wins. So, and they get a shout out or whatever. And so many people would come into our live stream back when I even live streamed, and would just like be commenting all this stuff. And at the same time, so many people are commenting. People want to be seen, so they would give gifts, and then we shout them out for giving gifts. And the one person who would win, we'd shout them out for free. But it was a great way to, like, I guess, be very intentional with your fans and play games with them, and for your fans to like support you. So yeah, there's a lot of positivity that comes with live streaming. It just depends on how you go about it.
All right, this next one is probably the most lucrative for making money as an influencer when you've reached a certain size, but also if you're a smaller influencer, you can still make money this way, but brand deals. Getting that brand
It's like the only way I make money.
Yeah, I think for most niches, it's possible to get a brand deal. Like widespread,
for sure. Even like nano influencers, it's just like the percentage or a code or something like that instead of like a big flat rate. So almost anybody, as long as you have some kind of engagement, you can reach out to people or get reached out to.
That's what I was going to say. If you're smaller and you know, you're not getting, make sure you have your email on your socials so brands can find you and reach out to you
inquiries,
easily.
Email.
But if you're not getting any emails from brands and like you're a smaller creator, you know, it could be multiple things why you're not getting reached out to. But that doesn't mean you can't reach out to brands that you want to work with that are in your niche. So get a press kit together. And basically what a press kit is just like all of your stats. And, you know, if you've had previous experiences with brand deals, put them on there and then just kind of tell them like who you are and why you think you'd be a good representation of their brand or like why you'd be able to make a good video for them. But do that. You can make a generic one and then kind of tailor it to each brand, or you can just go generic and just spam it out to, you know, 100 different companies. But if you're smaller and you're not getting anyone reaching out, you got to do the hard work. You got to sit down for a couple hours, send out some emails, respond to emails, you know, and you'll be able to get brand deals. But the bigger you get, it kind of just becomes about fielding those emails as they come in, responding, you know, figuring out what brands you want to work with, which ones you don't want to work with. But yeah, I think that the range of money that you can make from brand deals is insane. Yeah.
It's just about like getting started with one too. Like honestly, the best advice I could give is someone like, this is my primary way of making money, is like, just do one. Figure out a way to do one, even if it's like a crappy brand deal with like, I don't know, a supplement company, and you're doing like a small, like just a code or something, and you barely have any engagement, so you're not going to make a ton of money. Just do it so you, on the page, it shows like, hey, I do brand deals. So more people are going to reach out to you. And then if you have those analytics, like start sending those analytics to people. Like if you saw like, 8 people commented, hey, buying this right now, or 8 people, you have 8 website clicks. That's like, I don't know, 8 products that you sold. So send that, get that in a folder that's part of your EPK maybe, or just get a Google Drive, screenshot those website clicks or those comments and send them to brands, because brands want to see that. That's like proof that you can sell. And once you have one on there, brands are going to be looking at your page once they see things popping up, and that's where you really get reached out to.
Mm-hmm. Doing things like that too are going to show brands that you have your shit together. Ooh, yeah. Which is super important. And that's another thing with brand deals. Like you want to be as professional as possible. So try to respond at least once a day. Like check your email once a day, carve out some time in the morning to respond to your emails. So like be timely in your response, be professional, and create great content for them. And then whoever is the like head of marketing or whoever you're working with for the brand deal, like find them if you have LinkedIn and you're like business minded, find them on LinkedIn. Like connect with them, start building your network of people that are in the brand space, because you never know if these people are going to stay at these companies, you know, for the rest of their career or not. They're probably going to move around in the industry and do more influencer marketing for their career trajectory. So think like that. Think relationships long term with these people. Be professional, be timely, do those things in brand deals, and that's going to set you up for the long term for being able to make more money and get more brand deals in the future.
Oh, for sure. And I feel like you're a big advocate for like keeping brand relationships alive and just making sure like you've worked with influencers that have really, really good relationships with brands. And even if they have low engagement, they're like, I love working with this influencer. So
see, that's a great point that you brought up. Yeah. I mean, I have firsthand experience of brands that are obsessed with influencers because of the way that they work and the content that they put out for them, regardless of engagement, which is kind of mind blowing to me, because I think very black and white. Like, okay, if you didn't hit this threshold of views and you didn't hit this CPM, like all of these metrics, you know, then that wasn't a good business transaction. That's not true. Sometimes brands just want the good content and then they're going to post it on their social media. Like they just want quality content and an easy work experience. And that can go the other way too. You have a creator that's super popular, gets great engagement, but they are a nightmare to work with. Like you're going to ruin that relationship and they don't care, you know, how popular you are. If you're horrible to work with, they won't pay you money again. Like they won't work with you again. So yeah, that's a great point.
Just for my personal like information inquiry, what are some aspects that hit on to like please a brand or just a brand representative? How can you make that relationship, like how can you make them obsessed with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think if they send you on the front end, this is a little bit more like of a mature concept, but set expectations with the brand. Like be very clear of what you can offer and what they can expect, because they're going to come at you with their own creative brief. And I've seen creative briefs that are very open and general, and they want to give the creator, you know, creative freedom to make a great piece of content for the brand. But then I've seen brands come with a creative brief that is 6 pages. It's got 1 million bullet points. It's like, say this, say that, don't do this, don't do that, do this. Like all of these insane...
dealing with that right now with 2.
Right? All these insane requirements. And so you gotta get in front of that as an influencer and be like, here's what I will do, here's what I won't do. Negotiate on the front end. Before you sign any contract, make sure that you're comfortable with everything that you're delivering to them and they know what you're going to deliver. That will save you a headache and them a headache. And if you do that well on the front end and they try to, you know, twist it up on the back end, or like, oh, we need you to reshoot this because you didn't do this, this, and this, you can reference your expectations or the agreement that you signed on the front end after you've kind of negotiated and got to a place where you like.
I didn't realize that either.
That will save you such a headache and so much time. And it is not something that I see influencers commonly do. And I think it's where a lot of people run into headaches with brands, and that can make or break a relationship as well.
Mm-hmm. From personal experience, the 2 biggest things that the learning curves I had to realize is, number 1, get like a flat rate down, because it builds trust between both of y'all. Like you have the money, now it's your job to like provide, and they have an investment in you. So that's proof like, hey, they're for real and you're for real. Second one is like put a count in the email of how many revisions you are willing to do, essentially. Because there's one company I worked with where it got to the point where it's like 10 to 12 revisions. And those videos would take me like an hour and a half, 2 hours each. So it'd be like every day I was just doing this thing for a company, and which is great. But I think if you say, hey, I'm only willing to do 2 to 3 revisions for this dollar amount, it makes them kind of like think more about what exactly they want, because they're like, oh, we only have 1 more revision after this. So let's really hit it on the head instead of like, actually, we don't like this. We don't like the hat you're wearing. We don't like this. Definitely put in a revision count. That is so huge. Anyway, next monetization outlet.
This one, anyone can do with any sort of following, affiliate links.
Oh yeah, you know the most about this.
Yeah. So the easiest way to get affiliate links and products that will range for most niches would be joining Amazon affiliates. You can literally do this at any time. The only stipulation is that you need to make a sale, I think, within your first 180 days. Don't quote me on that. You need to make a sale within a certain window of time to be able to stay in the affiliates program. But then you can link anything from Amazon and put it like in your bio, or if you have like a link in bio thing that what are they called? Like link pages.
Oh yeah,
link tree, like a link tree. Yeah, for example. But yeah, depending on your niche, like if you're in fashion, you can find some cute clothes on Amazon, like do a little try on haul, and then put like link in bio. The other place, I guess, if you're in fashion specifically, you can apply for like to know it or like to know LTK, which you need to be approved into. So this isn't that one does kind of have like requirements to get into, but you'll also get commissions from the outfits that you link that people purchase. And then there's also like random brands will have affiliate programs. So it kind of just depends on the company itself. But if you can reach out to them in like their support, or if they have like a marketing director email on their website, which they probably don't, you can hunt them down on LinkedIn. But you can see if they have an affiliate program and if they'll give you like your followers 20% off if they use your code. And then you can just put that in your bio and hopefully you get a percentage of that as a commission. But that is something you can do with any size following, especially the Amazon links. Like starting out, you could have 0 followers and you can just put that Amazon link in your bio. And then if you want to make videos about a specific product or products, like do that, buy it from Amazon and then link it in your bio, and you can start making money right away, especially if you know how to make viral content with products. I've seen there's a lot of niche channels about like Amazon finds or like Amazon products. So affiliate links, we're just going to briefly touch on that, but that's something, you should have some sort of link in your bio, whether it's going to your website or it's going to something that is monetizable. That's something you can do literally right away from the start.
That's huge too, because if one of those, you can essentially choose what you want to promote. Like it's your own like specific brand deal. And when other brands start seeing these videos blowing up, brands of that, hopefully of a higher caliber in the same like account niche is going to, or industry niche is going to reach out to you for those brand deals. So it's a great way to prove like, hey, I get good engagement based off of this.
That's a great point. If you've done 1,000+ emails to brands and no one wants to do a brand deal with you, create content with affiliate links and use that as an example for brands that you've worked with. And yeah,
I need to take my own advice. I feel like
let's go, Jarek.
No, dude, you're the one that taught me about affiliate links. Anyway, merchandise, I think, is that the next bad boy?
Merchandise.
That's all you, bro. Go ahead. This is your section, dog.
This is my segment. I'm actually pretty excited about this one because I'm wearing the first version of SmallTownHollywood's merch. Nailed that one. Yeah, guys, when we had 1 million followers on TikTok, we launched our own merch website. And this is something that you can do, completely on your own if you want to build a website. And we used a print-on-demand service. I think it was Printful. There's also Printify. Shout out to those two companies. An absolute free plug. But you can just input your own designs into, I don't know, probably 100+ different products, anywhere from like t-shirts to shorts to sweatshirts, hats, coffee mugs, all the things that they have on this website, and sell them or like get a link. I think some of these print-on-demand sites, you can create your own website on their service, or like we did, I created a WordPress site and like integrated it so you could do e-commerce, and then it would connect up to Printful, so it looked like our own official website for selling merch. But yeah, we've got like our little STH logo, and then on the sides, it says like Hollywood and small town, and then on the back,
Is there stuff on the back?
Yeah, there's stuff on the back. We've got like the first.
Wait, let me see.
The first official SmallTownHollywood logo.
Bro, it's EVT. That's still on my email, I think.
But that's something that we were super excited about to launch to our followers, because I'd never put out merch before. Also, nowadays there's third-party services that might reach out to you if you're a bigger creator that will do the whole process for you, and your merch is just hosted on their site. So, those companies are going to take a bigger cut of your sales. So just be aware of that. If you really want to hustle and do the work, you can create your own website. You can use a print-on-demand site and put out your own merch. However, I want to add a caveat to this one. Know your fan base if you're going to do this. I mean, it's one thing to say that you could just put this up and have zero expectations on how much you're going to sell, but it is hard to move merchandise. It's hard to make sales. Yeah. You really got to have that dedicated fan base. So my recommendation would be hustle hard to create 1,000 loyal followers. And I don't mean people that, you know, like occasionally like your stuff. I mean people that comment on every single video. They're there if you do live streams, every live stream. Like these people you have a solid relationship with, that love your brand, love who you are, love your personality, what you're about, before you drop merch. You can drop it right away if you want to, but from our personal experience, like being fully transparent, I think we had 1 million followers on TikTok. I think we moved like 10 pieces of merch within our first couple of months. And we didn't market it super heavily. We had some promotional content.
I think we made one post, to be honest.
Yeah. So that might have been on us to market it a little bit better. However, if you're going to drop merch, know your fan base and like lower your expectations, because that is a true test of how many like loyal followers that you have.
Plus, I feel like even the loyal followers, you need to give them a reason to want it. Like, essentially, they're watching you because they like your personality and they feel like they relate to you. So get them to a point where they want to relate to your style and your fashion. So I do think, because I even remember at Rhett and Link, they put out a shoe, and I remember loving it back in like middle school. It had a little guitar pick in it and stuff, like a holder, and I remember wanting it so bad. And I asked my parents to like get it for me. This is when I was like in 6th grade. And it was because I saw them wearing it and they talked about it so much. So it kind of made me instead of forgetting about it, they kept pushing it. So I'm like, oh, wait, I do want that. And I'd see it again. I'm like, oh, I forgot I wanted that. And then they finally get it. So I think it is a combination of make sure you have that loyal fan base and also push it. Like make sure that people don't forget that they want it. Because it's so easy to like I've been wanting like silver rings, and I keep seeing like these cool silver ring brand deals and promos on TikTok, and I'll screenshot it and like save it for later. I'll be like, I'll look at my photos, and then I'll forget about it for like a week, and then it will pop up again. I'll be like, oh shoot, I really want that still, and that ups it in percentage because you're getting that brand recognition at that point. And then you just end up clicking it, and like when you have the money, buying it. So
if you're really thinking long term too, and you think about branding on the front end, which I know it's kind of difficult. If you're just getting started, you're just trying to gain your first 1,000, 10,000 followers. But if there's some element of branding that you can incorporate that your fans will identify as being unique to you, like if you can incorporate that into your merch, like Kings has yellow hair, right? Like I think on her merch she has like an icon of like yellow hair. Top. Yeah. So she's had that through line of branding for a while before she released the merch. So anyone that knows her, like sees her merch, will connect the dots between those two things. But like she was intentional about branding, pretty early on. I think about like JoJo Siwa with her bows. Like she wears her own bows and her own sparkly makeup all the time. So when she released bows and like sparkly makeup, that was a easy product to sell. Her fans identified that with her and wanted to wear that shit too because they think she's cool. But that actually transitions too into original products, which this is a more advanced way for influencers to make money. It's a little bit more entrepreneurial. You can do this from the very beginning if you're starting your own small business. This is more so for like entrepreneurial influencers or like business influencers. If you create your platform and your social media around your business, like that is a great way to market a product. But a lot of influencers that are bigger, that started as influencers, have reached a certain point to be able to release their own product. So for example, if you know Bryce Hall, if you know Josh Richards, they created their own energy drink called Annie Energy. And they're kind of in the college, younger male, younger female space. So energy drinks is something that's like
perfect
for like the party scene, being cracked on caffeine all the time. But they paired up, created some cool branding, created a couple flavors, energy drinks, pushed that, and then bigger creators like Logan Paul, KSI,
Ooh, come on.
They have their own merch, but their own actual product now is Prime energy drink.
So have you tried it, by the way?
I actually did when I went out a couple of weeks ago and bought them because they were in Kroger here in Nashville. So I was like, all right, I gotta go try this. I tried all their flavors. It's average.
I think it's great. Mid, bro? No way.
I think it's pretty mid. I
think the grape is delicious.
I'm always sus of like Logan promoting his own products, so I was like, I do actually have to try this time. I thought Any Energy, it actually grew on me. I really did like Any Energy.
I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, Prime sports drink. It's kind of mid.
What is the Full Send beer that they have?
Oh yeah, the Full Send dudes.
Like
they came out with their own
Daddy?
alcohol. Yeah, Happy Dad.
Happy
it's a
Dad,
seltzer.
Yeah. Bro, I love their branding too.
Their branding's immaculate.
Clean. All of these have like branding in common.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that these guys are entrepreneurs. So this is, like you said, kind of a level up. But
a lot of these dudes too are thinking like they want these brands to outlive them. They want them to be their own like product, like carve out their own product in or their own space in that market. You know, for energy drinks, for alcohol, for sports drinks. So
plus, it's a great way to diversify your income a little bit because this way you're not relying completely on. Like, for example, if I started another company that was like supplements or something, instead of relying specifically on my Small Town Hollywood income, I could diversify, make a whole nother LLC and put all of my product on there. So if Small Town Hollywood dies, I'm still have this company that I started 2 years ago or whatever that I was promoting through my TikTok.
Right.
Blowing that up. And you can honestly leave your name outside of it as well. So
that's what a lot of people are doing. That's a great point. Is we're trying to give you guys as many different ways to monetize as possible, so you can diversify your revenue streams. You know, so you're not reliant on brands. You're not reliant on live streaming. You know, you've got 4 or 5 different revenue streams from your platforms or different platforms like YouTube, Instagram. You know, we want you to not have to rely solely on one source,
which
because most
like,
people don't think about diversifying.
Most influencers are just brand deals.
That's scary because those come and go, and if you're reliant on that, like, the stress you have to be able to handle to just rely solely on brand deals, like, I feel for those people. It's not easy. So start thinking about diversifying between all these different sources.
Oh, for sure.
And then last one. This is our last one. The last like way to monetize. It's also kind of a more difficult one to accomplish, depending on how you do it, I guess. But paywall clubs. So Patreon used to be super popular back in the day. Like, you could support your favorite creator with a monthly donation, and it would give you access to different things that they would be doing each month, like whether it's exclusive content that they put out just for their Patreon, or access to videos early, any way that like you want to design kind of an exclusive club experience for your following. Other creators, again, like Logan Paul and the Nelk Boys, have created their own clubs, like Maverick Club, Full Send Club, and they've created that on their own website where you pay monthly, and they're putting out exclusive content for their followers. They're doing exclusive meetups for people that are part of the clubs. So cool things like that. And then the OF, the fans, obviously.
The fans.
We don't need to talk about that, but like, that's another example of like a paywall club. If you're an influencer, you can make money that way, and you don't have to be explicit on those.
Dude, there's some money in that. Damn.
Yeah, you can create different experiences based on your niche and your following.
All right, should we get into some niches?
Yeah, so we thought it was important to kind of express what we feel like are the different categories and like where you fit as an influencer in size within a niche, I guess. And Jarek will do a better way of explaining that, but
I feel like the reason why this is so important is if you listen to any advisor, any like influencer, anyone just talking about engagement or just using the jargon of like influencer marketing, you're going to hear niche a lot, or niche, or I think I pronounce it niche. But it is very, the definition of it is very close related to like the biological or whatever, the environmental aspect, where it is like your lane, your like habitat. This is the lane that you put content out into. And choosing your and understanding your niche is very, very, very important for maximizing each monetization outlet that Bryce just talked about. And your opportunities will vary based on the niche that you have chosen. And it is very much, when you choose a niche from the beginning, you are kind of branded into that niche. You can move outside of it, but it is pretty difficult, especially with the algorithm, because it is a brand and mark of like, you are a music account, you are a fashion account, you are a this account. Even followers don't like to really see people bouncing around too much. Some examples of opportunities that would vary between niches would be like the music industry influencers versus like myself versus fashion industry influencers. Industry influencers are probably going to be offered more brand deals because there's more products that are based on like actual like tangible goods, opposed to like music. It would be like someone is paying you for a song or someone is paying you to cover a song, and there's more people, especially like brands that are like their notoriety is based off of they're making money selling clothes. So their go-to would be selling or like reaching out to fashion industry influencers. So I think a good way to transition this is to talk about like influencer amount based on like your niche. And we kind of like talked about categories of like size of influencers, and it's like pretty subjective, but because I've heard that like 1 million followers is a micro influencer, and I've also heard 1 million plus followers is a macro influencer. So before we really get into the types of niches, I think these are I don't know what the word is.
We want to put some definition to the size of influencers and the jargon that's being thrown around.
Yeah, because based on the niche that you're in, your size really does matter. On how much money you can make and how many opportunities you will get.
Size does matter.
Yeah, size does matter. So starting off, we have micro influencers, which we base that around 50K to 250K.
What's before that one?
Before that one, nano, which I don't know if we put.
Don't forget the nanos. Hey,
nano is under 50K.
We're all inclusive though.
Nano, what are you talking about? That's average.
Can't forget the small guys.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Nano. Anyway, I guess, we'll start off at Nano. Nano is under 50K. You can still get brand deals even at 1,000 followers, but it is mainly about engagement at that point. 50 to 250K, 1,000 followers is the micro influencer. Mid influencer, 250 to around 1 million. Macro influencer, anything over 1 million. That's kind of brand is you should have made it by now, and you should be charging a good amount of money for pretty much everything. And then there's those mega influencers, 10 million plus, and I mean the god level tier, which would be like Charlie D'Amelio, but I mean
Mr. Beast.
Yeah, Mr. Beast. But the reason why that matters is because if you're in a niche, an account niche that's essentially like music, and you have a following of like 1,000 followers, nano influencer, your brands are probably not going to reach out to you for an original song or a jingle that's going to blow up their social media account and being posted on your account, and then you're getting paid like sync deals and all this kind of stuff. So you do need a larger following for that. And another good example is for like fashion. If you have a smaller fashion page, like if you're at 50 to 250K, the deals you're probably going to get are more of like codes and not flat rates. And then once you hit like mid influencer, that's when it'd probably be like $250 for like a video. And then there's the huge boys, the macro influencers that like you're getting around like maybe 3 to 4K a post. But there's 3 types of niches that we kind of came up with. The first one is the account niche. The second one is the industry niche. And then the third one is more of like a subcategory of sub niches. So starting off at account niches, the account niche is more of the creator side. It's the niche that TikTok pegs your page as. So if you're putting out a lot of music content, you probably heard the phrase music talk or fashion talk or food talk. If you're putting out a lot of music content, you're probably under music talk. So you're going to be getting pushed to pages that have a lot of like Charlie Puth content, that have a lot of singer-songwriter content. If you're on Fashion Talk, you're going to be getting a lot of people doing fashion hauls, and a lot of getting pushed to people that just want to see fashion and just the Met Gala, blah, 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 blah. This is very much based off demographic, who watches your video, the type of content you pick out, and it's pretty much micro to mega influencers. The second one would be the industry niche. This is the business side. This is the side that brands don't care about, essentially where you're being pushed out to as much, of like what type of followers you have and who's going to be watching your videos that you have already taken the side of. This would be like the music industry is going to reach out to people who are in like the industry niche of songwriting, or just music, or remixes, production, blah, blah, blah. This is the business side of, what's some good examples? Like currently I'm working on a Chobani brand deal, or like the brand deal that I did with American Eagle, where it's like, hey, we're reaching out to you because we want you to be making original music for us, and we're paying you this much based off of your influencer size. Here's some more examples. The fashion industry niche would be companies need brand awareness for their fashion lines. Travel industry niche, companies want brand awareness for their hotels. And I think we had, I don't know where this information came from, or the stat. We have a works side of it if someone really wants to see. But we found the top most lucrative brand niches is health and fitness is number one, which makes sense because
these top five they're debatably interchangeable.
Yeah.
Based on the different sites that we looked at, but
travel, bro, health and fitness, I think most, especially with Principal and whatever, what's the Shopify and everything.
Yeah.
There's so many Shopify companies that are catered specifically to like supplements, coffee, health and fitness, blah, blah, blah. So if you are a dominant like influencer in that industry, you can kind of monopolize the amount of money that you make from it, because you're like the only influencer that's charging that certain section, I guess. Number 2, beauty. Number 3, travel, huge. Number 4, business. And number 5, fashion. But those are all super, super, super lucrative brand niches. So, I mean, if you're in an area that's like your niche, I guess what would be an example of a niche where you probably wouldn't be making as much as these guys, and specifically brand deals and engagement?
I think, this kind of leads into the third section here, but it really depends how niche down you are in your like in the brand industry and in your own account niche. Like, how focused are you on one thing, and then what's the saturation like of that? But I don't know, let's say your niche is socks that have polka dot designs on them, and only polka dot designs. Like, that is your super small niche. Like, your audience that you're going to be reaching out to is going to have to love that design, or that
but
that product. And like,
exactly,
how much do people really spend on socks? Like, how frequently do people buy socks? I don't know. That's
plus like the big gorilla companies aren't. It's like Apple, Facebook, all these giant multi-billion-dollar companies probably aren't selling socks. You know what I mean? Or specialize in socks.
Yeah, or even just like clothing brands like Nike. Like, you're going up against it's in a massive industry of fashion, right? You're going up against like Nike, Adidas. You know, every clothing store has socks. So like, for you to niche to be able to like enter into a saturated market and come up with your own unique product, like, that's going to be
exactly.
It's going to be difficult.
But kind of going to this next point, like you said, like, choose a niche where it is lucrative, especially if you're going into it specifically to do this full time and make good money. Choose like a niche that's like, look at the big companies. Like, a lot of these fashion companies are like make billions of dollars every single year. So, you know, like, if I get in this niche and this company reaches out to me, I can ask for a lot of money. But the thing is, it's very, very gatekept. There's a lot of influencers that are clearly already doing this. Like, look at Emma Chamberlain. She's like the fashion girl right now. She like hosted the Met Gala. That's gatekept. The Vogue clearly reached out to her because of her, like, what she's been doing the past 3 years. So a good way to sneak in and get into the fashion niche is your sub niches, which is number 3. And the first point of this is first mover's advantage. You can get in very early on a micro niche that hasn't been dominated yet and become the face of that niche specifically. A great example is my boy Charlie Puth. I mean, he already was the face of like music, obviously, but he came in and saw that singer-songwriter, the niche underneath music. Macro niche would be music, micro niche would be singer-songwriter, and he took that, owned it, literally like made his entire niche, music production, songwriting, blah, 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 and made that a macro niche. And he got into that music niche so easy. And I mean, he did have like an angle. He's like signed to a label, and he has a base.
Massive, but
like there's so many other influencers that you can like see. Like honestly, even me, like I took the remix or the mashup niche and turned that into a macro niche, and now I'm getting paid like pretty good money for that. But at the time, that wasn't really like I wasn't getting paid anything. Some other examples of a macro niche would be fashion. That's the main macro niche, like the big money maker. Some of the micro niches would be like luxury streetwear, fast fashion, cottage culture, Y2K,
cottage couture, very micro niche there.
Oh gosh, but you can honestly, if you can figure out your angle of a first mover's advantage and go and see like, oh, I'm getting a little bit of engagement. I'm finding the fans, finding people that really care about cottage couture. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Cottage couture, and start pulling in more people, make it fun, and you can start grabbing people from other micro niches. You can turn that into a macro niche and then bust into the fashion space and make a good amount of money. But that's why niches are so important, because from the beginning, you need to be thinking about them. And most people that like aren't crazy successful off the bat, they're like wondering why isn't my stuff blowing up? Why don't people care about my videos? It's either like you're bouncing around from 100 different niches and no one knows what they're watching, which honestly could be a niche in itself, or you're literally just, you chose a niche that is very gatekeeped and everyone's doing. Like the whole producer talk thing of when every single musician that was putting out a song was like, they did that video of they walk in, and they're the artist, and they're also the producer, and they're like, oh, I didn't know you did. Mm-hmm. It's like that role play. Every single musician did that to the point where, like, if you put that out, people are going to be like, oh, not this trend again. Mm-hmm. So kind of like, from the beginning, choose a niche that makes sense and that you have an angle for. But, I mean, if you're just doing it to have fun, like, that's a great way to be authentic. But you need
Listen, if you're just doing all this to have fun, click off our podcast right now. Yeah, you're going to make some money.
It is. There is something to be said to be genuine and authentic, obviously. Right. Make sure, another huge point before we get into this next spot, make sure whatever niche you choose, you enjoy. Because if you don't enjoy that, I mean, there's like, in the end, I think your following is going to notice that it's ruining you, and you're going to be making money doing something that you hate.
Mm-hmm. That's an overall mindset for anything you do in life too, especially work related. Like, you want to enjoy it because that's 40% of your life.
Oh my God, for sure.
And debatably more time if you're a full-time influencer.
Bro, so you want to kick off the big
time,
boy?
It's time to please.
The algo?
It's time to
miss algorithm?
It's time to massage the algorithm a little bit.
Oh, Lord. Which so many people have probably heard.
Yeah.
So much about the algorithm.
We kind of made a short list about pleasing the algorithm, best practices, things that you can do right off the rip to give your content the best possible chance. You want to start us off on the first one?
I think we should put a disclaimer that this is overall algorithms, not specifically like the TikTok algorithm or the YouTube algorithm, because this should be probably a separate podcast as well.
Yeah, we could dive into each platform specifically.
Because I mean, I do know that like TikTok is different from YouTube. Clearly, YouTube is different from Reels. A lot of people getting into short-term content, like Reels, TikToks and Shorts. It's pretty similar, but this is, just keep in mind, this is kind of overall. Anyway, best practices number 1 is one that pretty much everyone has heard.
You've heard it a million times.
So much, and I mean, it kind of is a cop-out, but at the same time, like, it should be in the back of your head.
It's important.
Is post consistently. You need to create a content schedule for yourself and treat it like a 9 to 5, which sucks. But like, if you want to make this a full-time thing, you need to treat it like your business, like your work. Like you have a boss that's saying, hey, 9 to 5 today, you have to be doing this. You are your own boss. You want to become an influencer. This is the influencer lifestyle. Repurpose content on all platforms. Start with TikTok and apply to Reels, Shorts, any idea pins, any other short-term, like, I don't know, video apps.
Yeah. Maximize the fruits of your labor.
Exactly.
Like if you're going to create short-form content for TikTok, you can post that on Reels. You can post that on Shorts. If it works for Pinterest, post it on Pinterest. Like if you, don't create individual content for each platform if you don't have time for it.
Exactly.
That's a headache.
Anyway, next one. And we basically just covered this with the last entire section, but understanding your audience. And also I'm going to add in there understanding your competition as well, because I think it's all comprehensive of understand, the macro industry that you're in, what brands are looking for, and then understand your individual like platform niche and figure out what your audience likes, like who are you attracting, what kind of content they want to see. That's important. Like figure that out from the get-go. Keep testing, trying out different content and see what your fans like, but make sure you understand that niche that we were talking about. Exactly. Next one is set goals. This isn't just for like pleasing the algorithm and like for specifically like posting. Like this is to also help you stay sane a little bit. Like there's something out there for you to reach for and to attain. Like I think we made like a short-term objectives and a long-term goals list when we first started Small Town Hollywood.
Even when we started this podcast.
Yeah, we did. Of like who we want to get on it, blah, blah, blah. I think even we wanted to be, before Ellen got canceled, but we wanted to be on Ellen just as a, like, we made it kind of thing.
I want to be sponsored
and you
by
don't
Red
have,
Bull.
What?
I wanted to be sponsored by Red Bull.
Oh, yeah. Looks like none of our
Still
goals
working
came
on that
true.
one.
Some of my goals came true. I've had some pretty major goals.
Dude, hit 1 million followers.
Yeah, huge. Hit 2 million. I'm about to hit 3 million. So just keep setting those goals.
Also, set the goals, but break it down then into realistic daily tasks.
Attainable,
like it's important to set lofty goals that you're working towards, but don't make that like the determining factor of your success. Take those goals as kind of a benchmark of what you're working towards, but to achieve them, break it down into daily steps, to weekly steps, to monthly steps, and set check-ins with yourself to see how far you're along. But don't let that goal like define your success and failure of what you're doing. Let it more so guide you in your daily tasks, and then just put your head down and work. And I guarantee you, if you keep chipping away and making that improvement day over day, like it's going to get you somewhere. Will it get you to the exact goal that you set? Maybe not, but you're going to be way farther along if you set something that you're working towards and have those daily habits than if you have zero direction whatsoever. I just want to add that as a caveat of like a lot of people get disappointed if they don't reach their goals and they give up. I don't think that's the most important part is the achievement of the goal. I think it's how you break it down and how you work towards it every single day. That really makes a difference long term for achieving something in general.
Amen, bro. Bro preaching over here. All right, next one.
Show personality, guys.
We also skipped understand your competition.
Yeah, I kind of included that in the understand your audience, but we'll breeze past that one.
Okay.
Show your personality, guys. Be authentic. I wrote this very cliche statement: is there's only one of you, so show your audience the authentic, real you. They're gonna connect with that. And you're also going to find the audience that connects with that if you consistently put that out. And that's how you're going to build that loyal fan base and
people can
be able to monetize.
See through bullshit too. Like if they see you're not enjoying it, I've gotten it even. Some of the reverse hits I've done, I feel like I look so bored and unhappy. Even there's that one girl we worked with, we won't say any names, where I don't know, there's just a little bit of tension. And in the video, you can see that I'm very sad. I'm just playing piano and you guys are singing. Be genuine, be authentic. If you don't like doing it, don't do it. But there is something to be said about being authentic. Anyway, next one is establish your voice. You need to create a tone for your audience. The more you create, the easier it will be to find your groove of like what you do. It may not feel super natural at first, but like keep going, you're going to feel like, oh, this is kind of what my brand looks like. This is what my personality looks like off camera, and I can incorporate that into on camera. So you're not all kind of like fake, because the worst thing to watch is like someone that clearly is like pretending to be someone else. And we've gotten to the point where technology, you can read everything through a video, like people's facial features, how people act, the tone of their voice, if they're nervous. Lean into it, watch it, get into the groove. You don't know how many takes I've done with mashups where I'm like, oh, I feel like this doesn't reflect who I actually am, or this doesn't sound good, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, establish your voice for sure.
Also, next one, study your analytics. So once you've got some content out on your platforms, figure out when your audience is watching your content, what's the demographic of your audience, what pieces of content did well versus other pieces of content, like analyze them so you can better figure out like when you should be posting or what kind of content you should be posting. That one's pretty straightforward, but that is a helpful, very scientific metric and indicator of how you're doing, and you can make some improvements or make adjustments based on what you're seeing. Don't become obsessed with it. Numbers aren't everything, but they can help guide you to make better decisions for your content.
And the final one, I mean, we could go on for days. These are the biggest ones, but understand the algorithm to some level. And it does change a lot. That's why you're testing different things. Figure out what the algorithm likes about you, what the algorithm pushes more, what the algorithm sees as beneficial to like TikTok or to YouTube or to whatever, because each one has their own agenda. And a lot of that is just testing things out. And that kind of gets into the next section of pleasing the algorithm is the actual algorithm indicators. You want to talk about what to focus on, essentially?
We have a few things here that I think can generally be applied across all algorithms, but saved videos is going to be a big one.
Huge,
if people are saving your videos or sharing your videos off platform, any platform is going to like that because it's going to bring an audience that's like off TikTok or off YouTube or whatever, like back onto the platform to watch content. Another one would be comments. If people are commenting and engaging on your videos, that's going to show that your content is engaging. People like it. People are saying something about it. Next one.
Rewatch time, huge. That one is, and I mean, this is this area that switches up a lot depending on the platform, because you probably have seen like TikTok switches from like they like long-term content of they just put out stuff where now you can hit 10 minutes, so they're trying to push that and promote it. So now they're pushing out videos that are over a minute or up to a minute. And I remember there's that whole trend where it's like, oh, I've heard people say that TikTok wants short videos. So, and it just cuts off because that's like the joke. It pushes out shorter content. So figure out what that rewatch time is. If people are rewatching a 7-second video over and over and over and over, that's really, really, really good. But it probably needs to be watched more than if it was rewatched like 10 times by a minute video. So kind of see what works well for your niche and for your account. Like if you're a long-term, like for me, mashups do the best. That's a minute long and people watch that over and over and over. My account is probably more dedicated to that opposed to like, I mean, I used to do those reverse hits, which are like 6 to 10 seconds long, because in order to put it to Snapchat, it needs to be that short essentially. But it gets watched so many times that it matches the same amount of someone who watched a minute long video 10 times. Super important. Next one.
We've got profile visits, which how do I phrase this? I think it's important to create content that's going to send the viewer
to your homepage,
back to your homepage, back to your account, and on YouTube it's like your click-through rate. So yeah, just being mindful of getting viewers. If you're on TikTok and they're on the For You page, like somehow having content that entices them to go follow you or to go to other platforms and follow you. Profile visits super important. So we say using like a call to action and a CTA to kind of get people to do something specific, whether it's clicking on a link or clicking subscribe or whatever.
Go straight into our next one, website clicks. It's a great way to get people into something that can be monetized. Like if you have a Patreon, if you have original music, not only does the algorithm like that, but it also helps your pockets a little bit. Mainly reason why the algorithm likes it is because they're seeing that, oh, they have engaging content where they're spending more time on your TikTok page. Next one.
I'm gonna do hashtags. So I'm gonna let you do the other one. use hashtags. I think on different platforms it's more advantageous than others, but hashtags are a good way for the algorithm to understand where you want your video placed. So make sure that they are relevant to the kind of content that you're putting out, and they'll actually help your videos trend depending on the platform. So figure out what other people in your niche are using for hashtags. Figure out, bigger hashtags that are broad, some mid-range hashtags, and then some smaller, very niche and hashtags that maybe include part of your branding, like hashtag SmallTownHollywood, using that on your videos. So if anyone ever searches that or clicks on that hashtag, it should just be all of your videos. But yeah, hashtags can be a super important way to be discovered in the algorithm, and it kind of helps the algorithm figure out what kind of content you're putting out.
For sure. And then accounts tagged, which is essentially pushing people to tag their friends, pushing people to be like, I'm starting a band, tag 3 people that you would be in a band with. You do have to be careful with this one because I think putting it in your caption, TikTok doesn't essentially like I don't know what that's like. Say, comment your favorite color, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I did have a TikTok rep tell me that TikTok doesn't like that. I don't know if it's cliche or if they just don't want that kind of content. So a way you can get around that kind of stuff, because captions are read very deeply by algorithm based on the metadata. So you can do a top comment, pin your comment and say, go follow my Instagram, go follow my Spotify, go do this. That's a good way to get around the whole algorithm trying to keep you from doing specific things. Like if you put in your caption, follow my Instagram, TikTok does not want you to go outside of their platform. So they're not going to push your video as much. But if you comment, top comment, pin it and say, go follow my Instagram for more content like this. Or I don't know, something like watch the rest of this video on my Instagram. Way better than putting that in the caption.
That kind of pivots into the next section that we wanted to briefly cover. But I have one more thing in what to do to please the algorithm, or I guess to pay attention to. And it would be keep track of or keep an eye on new features that each platform is releasing. This is a big one. So if you see that TikTok just released a new 10-minute video feature, and I don't know how well it's going to do, but I can only imagine that TikTok is going to want to push 10-minute videos because they're trying to become more long form, which is a very interesting play for them. They already have insane watch time or retention time for people staying on the platform. It's probably one of the best out of all of the social media platforms. But whenever there's a new feature that comes out, prioritize that for your content. Short form content has absolutely blown up because of TikTok. So the creation of reels and shorts and idea pins on Pinterest, all of those things are now prioritized in the algorithm. Instagram wants short form video content. YouTube wants that short form video content. So if you're not doing that, repurposing your TikTok content on there, start doing it now. You should have, if you're on TikTok and you've been doing it for a while, you should have a ton of backlogged content that's already posted that you can repurpose, and it's going to be optimized already for the short form content that these other platforms are now prioritizing. So that's a big one. I mean, that's one example, but stay up to date on what's being prioritized on each platform because they're going to push it more. You're going to get more engagement. You're going to get more followers. You're going to make more money. Super important one.
Remember when they were pushing GIFs? We made that a Billie Eilish cover that was specifically for GIFs. And they pushed that too.
Oh, that's right. TikTok, TikTok pushes a lot of random new features.
And I mean, a good way to keep up to date with that is you can subscribe to a TikTok email. If you have a rep, you're automatically in that. But you can literally just do that on in TikTok settings. Anyway, what not to do. And this is our final section, so people that are getting angsty, seeing the timer.
If you're still with us, guys, we understand this is super kind of dry and informative, but this is all good shit.
Huge. This is stuff we've done this. We do this every day. This is what works. This is how we both made it as influencers and in areas of the influencer industry, like your job as song influencer. You did these best practices with people every single day, especially for campaigns. Anyway, what not to do. Obviously, don't push your following to another social platform. Figure out ways around it. Don't say link in bio or Instagram in your TikTok caption or blah, blah, blah. There's ways around it, like the whole pin your top comment, or even in the video at the end in text. In the video, say link in bio, because they're not going to read the metadata of that.
Yeah,
Be kind of a little bit more sly with it.
Don't be super blatant. Don't be don't be obvious, but do it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do it. You need to push your content to other platforms so you diversify and you're not reliant on one platform. So you need to figure out a way. Yeah.
Just don't make it super obvious where it's like, hey, this influencer is literally just trying to get more numbers on his other accounts.
Mm-hmm. This one's super obvious, guys, but like if you're on a vertical platform like TikTok, the algorithm's going to like if you have vertical content. So try not to like repost horizontal video. It's just not optimized for the platform. So optimize your content for whatever platform that you're on from a from like an editing standpoint. So on YouTube, like our YouTube content is going to be horizontal, and that's what you're watching right now. But on TikTok, when we make clips for this, it's going to be vertical. That's kind of obvious.
Next one, don't delete your videos. The worst case, private them. Most algorithms I know do not like when it's pushing out content and out of nowhere it just stops, because most of these algorithms are built in of they're pushing this much. If it does this well, it gets pushed out to this many people, and to abruptly stop that, the algorithm does not like. Plus, if you see a video that's not doing super well, you can watch it blow up 10 days later. Literally, like even when I left the Creator Fund with the video that like did average, I think it was a mashup that got 300K likes, which is still pretty good. Kept it up, obviously, and maybe a month later, it hit 10 million views. So don't delete videos. Worst case, private them or do a friends only kind of thing.
If you are reposting your content onto other platforms, make sure that you're ripping your content with like an online website that removes the platform watermark. You can add in your own watermark of like at, and then your handle like at SmallTownHollywood in like light white that has like transparency, I guess. If people are stealing your content, this happens a lot with like comedy posts and stuff like that. Yeah. People will rip it. But if you're going to post your TikToks to YouTube Shorts, like download it without the YouTube watermark. And same thing, I don't know if Shorts will do it if you steal it from YouTube Shorts, but if you download it from Instagram Reels, it puts a Reels watermark. So be conscious of that. Platforms don't like that. I think you'll get less engagement. So another one.
Next one, minimize breaks in posting. Schedule posts if you can, but I mean, it does depend on how new you are. Like if you're posting every single day for a week and then you take a break for a month and you start your account like literally the month beforehand, you're going to see very, very, very low engagement. For my sake, I think I've been doing TikTok for like 3 years, or just social media for 3 years, where I can take small breaks, but as long as I come back and start being consistent again, it does take a long time to recover after breaks, depending on what ideas you have. But doing the same exact thing that you did before the break is it's probably not going to do as good, because sometimes trends move to new trends. So just you got to keep that in mind every time that you decide to have a little vacation or just relax your brain, which I'm not saying don't take breaks, because
you need them.
You'll
get mentally to a point where you have to take a break.
Yeah.
Creator burnout is 100% real.
For real.
And our final point, which we've kind of covered already, but when you niche down and you have specific kind of content that you're putting out, like don't go outside of your niche. Like if you make fashion videos, it would be weird for you to post like a video of you fishing on the lake. Like that video is just not going to do well. Yeah. We've kind of experienced that back in the day when we only posted mashups and covers. It was us in front of the screen, like how the framing was done and where we positioned and our lighting. Everything was very uniform and similar between videos. And then when it came to do a song campaign brand deal, it was like us outside or driving a car or like walking around. Even that just like difference of it wasn't a music related piece of content, like was enough for it to not do as well as the rest of our content. So yeah, try not, like, obviously if you do something way outside of your niche, it's not going to do well. So we would recommend do not do that.
Well, saying that is the best way if you follow those three categories, which I'll repeat again just for the people that might have skipped to the end. I don't know. This was a lot, like we said. 3 topics is monetization of how essentially to make money off of social media. Number 2, niches, which is essentially where do you lie in? What is your lane in social media? How do you what did we say for niches?
Understanding that industry niche that you're entering into, understanding your specific niche as a content creator, and then finding kind of a sub niche to make yourself unique and stand out in the saturated market of influencers.
Exactly, and maximize each one of those monetization outlets. And finally, pleasing that algorithm, making sure that you're doing everything it takes to be pushed out to the audience that you are trying to achieve and attain, and just please the audience that you already have as well. But guys, if you do those 3, we can almost guarantee if you follow all this down to a T, you're clearly going to make it as a full-time influencer.
Guys, I have plenty of time right now in between this and a couple other things that I'm doing, but if you guys want help with any of this, the DMs are open. I am offering this to literally any influencer right now that wants help to understand this more. I want to build my network of creators, people that are making content, whatever size you are, from nano to mega, if you really want to reach out. But we want to help you guys make money. That's kind of why we started this podcast. So appreciate you guys if you stuck around throughout this entire podcast. We're going to chop this down into clips, so hopefully it's more digestible on different platforms. But we're super excited about the guests we're going to continue to have on. This is
some cool ones coming
one of our first few episodes. We're really bringing, I feel like, a lot of value for you guys, information
as well.
But
come on,
that's all we got for you guys today. Appreciate you tuning in.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Broken Famous. Hopefully we taught you how to be rich and famous. Until the next podcast, we love you so much.
Peace.
Bye.